This past Saturday, the Boozer twins combined for 38 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists to lead Columbus past Dynamic Prep 67-49 in the men's championship at Chipotle Nationals. The title caps off a historic high school career for the two future Blue Devils, and here to talk about it and more, Eric Bossi is back on the show. All right, E-Boss, when I talked to the Boozer twins last week in the McDonald's All-Americans game, as you very capably held the phone and recorded it, I can't thank you enough for that. We talked about just the opportunity to punctuate their career with another championship. Chipotle Nationals was the very last one to win, and they won it. So this now is their resume. They have 4 Florida state championships. That means they've won a state championship in each of their 4 seasons. They have 3 Nike EYB championships, meaning they have won the Nike Grassroots League in each of their 3 seasons. They have gold medals every time they have played for USA Basketball, and now they have a national championship. Very simply, they have won every competition they have played in their high school career. In the 18 years I have been doing this, this is far and away the best high school career that I have seen. You have been doing this longer than I have. You are the OG in this space. So my question to you, is there anyone who has had a more successful high school career in your illustrious career?
You know, you and I just started discussing this a few days ago, and I've been racking my brains trying to find somebody, going back to whether it be LeBron James or Derrick Rose or Greg Oden, any of these great high school players. And if we're going strictly winning in high school, nobody can top it. Ironically enough, the person who comes the closest might be a fellow 2025 graduate, Koa Pete, from down in Arizona, who won 4 high school championships and 3 gold medals with USA Basketball, but he doesn't have the summer championships to go along with it. So, no, I don't think anyone can top the high school resume of Cameron and Caden Boozer. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the top ranked players of all time, but the winning that they do is certainly factored into how we think about them. And it's really a tremendous accomplishment and something that I think when we have a few more years to really look back on this, it's really going to sink in just how incredible what they've done is.
Yeah, and I want to be clear about that. Normally, when we're talking rankings, we're projecting a futures market. That is not what we are doing with this
No.
conversation. With this conversation, we are talking strictly measuring their high school career against some of the all-time greats. And as I said, in 18 years of doing this, the Boozers have had the best high school career of anyone I have ever seen. And I also want to give Caden his flowers too. And Cam talked about this at the McDonald's All-American game about how Caden doesn't get enough credit because Cam tends to get the majority of the attention. And listen, Cam is a top 3 prospect in the class. He's very likely going to be a one and done pick and probably a very high draft pick. But Caden Boozer is, as we talked about at McDonald's, obsessed with the game of basketball. And he has run the show in all of those situations, from USA Basketball to the Knight Riders in EYB to Columbus High School. And I thought it was only appropriate that he made that game winner in the semifinals against Brewster Academy to propel Columbus into the finals. I thought that moment was a very fitting microcosm and giving him his shine for a player who hasn't necessarily gotten it over the course of the years as much as he deserved. When it comes to winning games right now, I'm not talking about 5 years down the road. I'm saying if you need to win a game right now, this is the guy you want on your team. I was very happy for him that he had that moment. But talk to me a little bit about Caden and just your take on him, not about what he's going to be at Duke or 5 years down the road, but what he has been in terms of a high school point guard.
Caden Boozer has been the model of efficiency and consistency as a high school point guard. And it's like you said, it's pretty wild that he's consistently been ranked among the top 25, but sometimes we talk about him as almost an afterthought when usually when we talk about other top 25 kids, it's like, holy cow, this guy's a top 25 player, right? So it was really like I was with you. I thought it was really nice to Cameron to not only give his brother his flowers, but he really went out of his way to make sure that people understood how he felt about his brother and how important he thought his brother was to the success that he's had, because those two certainly don't function the same without each other. And it's nice to see Caden getting some credit because they don't have all this happen without what he's done. He's been steady. I think his assist to turnover ratio throughout this entire thing, whatever it is, has been over 3-1 assist to turnover. So he takes care of the ball. He makes big shots when needed. He's been underrated as a defender. He's just a really quality player who, if we were talking just about Caden Boozer, top 25 player going to Duke, he'd be getting a lot more, accolades and stuff. But he just happens to have a brother who's ranked in the top 3 that kind of takes John.
All right, now I want to turn the page a little bit because we have talked on this show since December about the battle for the number 1 prospect in the class of 2025. Cam Boozer, I have said, was in that discussion. He remains in that discussion. You have been a champion for Darryn Peterson's case as the number 1 overall prospect. And I want to, this is on the record and it's easy to document. We've been having that discussion since December. Now, as is not infrequently the case, we've seen others start to emulate what we've said on this show and what we've had in our rankings. And so what we are going to do here on this show is give you a preview. We are going to say that the player who finishes as the number 1 ranked prospect in the national class of 2025 will be Darryn Peterson. Now, the reason we're doing that is we have said from the very beginning, Bossi, you and Travis saw this during the course of the year. You put in your stake that, hey, you thought Darryn Peterson was number 1. That dates back 3 or 4 months now. And we were very clear and very transparent that we wanted to finish out the year and see what happened in McDonald's, see what happened in Hoop Summit, see what happened in Chipotle Nationals. Well, Darryn Peterson's not playing in Hoop Summit this week. He was the MVP at the McDonald's All-American game and equally impressive in the practices. And then a day later at Chipotle Nationals, he backed that up. So I am co-signing everything you said, but I want to go back to what you saw in December and January of this year when you came on this show and said, hey, Darryn Peterson is my number 1 ranked prospect in the country. I have now seen it as well. He will finish as the number 1 ranked prospect. But what was it back then when he was going head-to-head with DeBonsa, when he was going head-to-head with Boozer, that made you want to stamp that so early?
I think what I really thought for me was it was more of the discussion doesn't go beyond Darryn and AJ for the number 1 player in the class. And it was something that we need to really monitor. And, Peterson first made his case with an individual victory when Prolific beat Utah Prep back in December. And then they went and did it again during February, this time with him going for 61 points in a head-to-head matchup. And it's not like DeBonsa was a slouch. He had like 46, if I remember correctly, or 48, just an unreal pair of games that they played against each other. But I think with Peterson, just his consistency, and he has the fewest flaws in his games, and I think he's the most complete. So it's not a matter of, I think he's earned it with his play, with being the number 1 player. He's been the most consistent. He's produced the most often. He's produced the most regularly. He's led his teams to win. He's made others around him better. And if we go ahead and make that move, I think it's something that he's definitely deserved and earned.
All right, you can find all the latest from eBoss and the rest of the 24/7 Sports team over on 247sports.com. And a reminder, that promo is still available. Use the code PORTAL. You get 60% off your annual VIP memberships. That is available until April 23rd, just before the stroke of midnight.